Good afternoon. Today's battle rhythm, Navigating the Second Retirement, the Civilian Retirement, will be hosted by our hostess with the mostest, Jeanette Gillis. Jeanette is the director of the network. The network provides local veteran serving organizations with a connection to national resources when a veteran's request cannot be met locally. To find out more about the network, please visit America's Warrior Partnership .org/the network. That's it for me. Jeanette, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad that you're here with us today. I would like to extend a welcome to all of our America's Warrior Partnership staff and our branches that are joining us today, our veteran service organizations, and any guests that are here. Thank you for being here with us, and I hope that you learned something really interesting today. We've got two presenters, Tracy Latona. Tracy is an Army veteran spouse and the financial coach and owner of Golden Rose Financial Coaching. We also have Caleb Krieg. Caleb is a Marine veteran, licensed broker with comprehensive benefits. These are our speakers today. And I am going to start us off with Tracy and turn it over to her. And I think that we've got her slideshow up. So Tracy, I'm going to turn the floor to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Tracy Latona. My company is Golden Rose Financial Coaching. And what I have the honor and opportunity of doing is walking alongside people who are stressed or anxious about their finances, helping them overcome their mindsets, habits, and behaviors that have them feeling stuck, and helping them reach those financial goals to be able to step into that financial freedom that they envision. So today, I would love to share more about the second retirement and your money mindsets. So can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can, Tracy.
Awesome. That excites me. So when it comes to retirement in the military, like that is a huge accomplishment, absolutely incredible feat. And when you're in the military, you're often told what to do. And it's pretty much the same when you're retiring from the military. What do they tell you? Go out and find another job. Pursue something as high paying as possible. Try to, get those benefits, get what you're worth, all of that. But when it comes to that second retirement, that civilian retirement, you don't have somebody telling you what to do. You don't have that direction. So oftentimes what happens is there is another loss of identity. So there's loss of identity coming out of the military oftentimes. And then there's loss of identity again with retirement sometimes. So what I'm here to share is, what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you can make your life look like whatever it is you want to? So how do you do that? You get to decide what your life looks like from here on out. You get to take your time back. You get to take that freedom back because you're not working anymore unless you're choosing to. So the first step is to create a crystal clear vision of what you want your future to look like. You spent the last 40 years of your life working, and now you get to live life on your terms and spend time the way that you want to. So what does that look like for you guys? Does that look like traveling, time with the grandkids, a lake house, buying lots of land to go hunting? And then once you have that crystal clear picture of, this is how I want to enjoy my time, this is what I want it to look like. From there, you can ask the question, what needs to be true to make that happen? So for example, if you want to go fishing every day, do you want to go lake fishing, saltwater fishing? Okay, awesome. Does that mean that you need to move next to a lake or move to a state on the coast? Awesome. And from there, you can actually start working backwards to be able to create the systems and processes that need to be put in place to be able to make this dream, to make this goal happen. So the first thing that you need to do if you're married is to get on the same page as your spouse if you're not already. Now, for some of you, I just heard eye rolls. I might have heard some sphincter slam shut. I might have heard the, yeah, right. But it's so important to dream and have goals and work together on your finances with your spouse. If you're married, studies have shown that couples that have their money joined together are happier than couples who don't. And part of that is because it takes the communication up to the next level. It takes that trust up to the next level. And you're actually pulling the cart forward. Imagine yourself as two draft horses pulling the cart side by side. You're actually getting somewhere versus trying to go in different directions. It doesn't work as well. So if you're having trouble getting on the same page as your spouse with these goals, working with a financial coach or communicating with a financial counselor can help you get there. The next thing to help with these systems and processes to get you to that clear vision of retirement is to understand that finance is only 20% knowledge and 80% behavior. You can know how to budget. You can know that, lots of debt is really risky and being debt-free would be amazing. But unless you actually behave with your money in alignment with this knowledge, you're going to stay stuck. So that is a huge core understanding, is that money is actually behavior. Next, to create this system and process is the B word. And no, I'm not talking the bad word. I'm talking the word budget. So when people hear the word budget, a lot of times they think it's a ball and chain and shackles, and that's really actually not it. Think of a budget as a mission for your money. It is the foundation for good money habits. It's actually permission to spend, because you get to tell your Benjamins where to sit, where to stay, where to go, and how to work for you. And fun fact, 93% of millionaires stick to the budgets that they create. They stick to the mission for their money. And that is a huge reason, that and investing are huge reasons why they became millionaires in the first place. And forgive my dog barking. That is Klaus. He is a Great Pyrenees. He's protecting me from butterfly farts 3 blocks away. So what is a budget? A budget is more than just a spending plan of, this is what my bills are, this is how much they are, this is what they're due. That's what Congress does. Guys, we just avoided a government shutdown again by the hair of our teeth, and we're headed towards that direction again in 45 days. For the love of all things holy, don't be like Congress. Have a mission for every dollar going into and out of your account before the month begins. And the thing that makes this work, guys, is actually tracking those transactions every day to every 1 to 2 days. You can use a budgeting app, you can use pen and paper, you can use an Excel spreadsheet, whatever that looks like that works best for your brain, go ahead and use that. Next, to help you get to that dream retirement that you've pictured for yourself, is to not have debt. Guys, can you imagine what it would feel like to retire with no debt and you own your house in full? Can you imagine being able to keep all of that money that you're paying out now and have that work towards that dream retirement? Can you picture that, how good that's going to feel? So the best way to get out of debt, and this is using the behavior method, because remember, finances is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge, is using the debt snowball method. So that is listing all of your debts from the smallest amount owed to the largest amount owed. You're not paying extra on anything except the smallest one. You're paying minimums on everything except the smallest one. So if you throw an extra 20 bucks on MasterCard, an extra 50 on your car payment, stop it. Fire hose the smallest one. Celebrate when you get that paid off. Woo, awesome, yeah. And then take that money that you were paying on the smallest one and stack it on top of or roll it over to the minimum on that next smallest debt. Rinse, wash, repeat. And pretty soon you're going to feel those dopamine hits. You're going to feel that reward system of your brain kicking in. And it's going to be like, yeah, baby, we're paying off debt. Awesome. And that is going to help motivate you to stay on track. By the time that you retire, it's good to have 1 to 2 years of expenses in a bridge gap emergency fund. So before retirement, it's great to have 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. By the time you retire, it's good to have 1 to 2 years in a liquid savings account, a liquid emergency fund, meaning that you can access that pretty easily. The reason why is because during retirement, you're going to experience downturns in the market. It's what the market does. It goes up and down. Historically, it continues to go up. And when the market is down, this is to help protect your investments. So that way you don't have to pull money out of that investment for less than what you bought it for. So we're budgeting, we're paying off debt. We have a awesome, amazing emergency fund. And I also encourage you to work with a financial advisor to keep your investments growing. My father-in-law taught me everything that I know about investing. And while I'm not a financial advisor myself, I work with people's mindsets and habits with their money. He did teach me the basics, and he was really good at what he did. It was his hobby. Until one day, he got kind of tired of it. He got burned out. He had been putting slowly but surely all of his eggs in one basket because he had the one stock that was doing really, really well. And he decided to take a break for 3 months. During that time, that company that owned that stock was sold, and he lost everything. A financial advisor is going to prevent you from doing dumb things with your investments. They're there to keep you from making decisions that would hurt you in the long run. They're there to walk you off the cliff if you want to cash everything out because the market looks scary. And they're there to help you evaluate what it is you want to do. So that's what an investor does. What a coach does is help people with their behaviors with their money, whereas investors make people's money behave for them. Also, guys, if you're a veteran and you haven't taken advantage of your benefits, I highly, highly encourage you to use that as part of your retirement plan. There's so many veterans out there who are like, I don't feel like I deserve these benefits because XYZ. We've all heard those statements before. But did you know that when a soldier goes into basic training, the VA sets aside $3 million of benefits per person for that soldier, because they know that soldier is going to come out a little bit more busted up than they did going in. This includes disability compensation, education benefits, healthcare. If you haven't taken advantage of your VA benefits yet, please get connected with your county veteran service officer and get that ball rolling. It'll add extra financial stability to your retirement. All right, guys, we are winding down. So as you're thinking about retirement, what type of legacy is it that you want to leave? Legacy isn't necessarily just a big pile of cash that you leave to your kids or your grandkids, but what do you want to be known for when you pass away? An exercise I sometimes do with my clients is I have them actually write out their own eulogy or their own obituary. And while that might seem morbid, it actually creates a vision of what people want to be known for when they're passed. Do they want to be known as generous? Do they want to be known as wise? Somebody who was always there to lend a helping hand? Somebody who was the grandpa that took them fishing every weekend, or the grandma that took them hiking all the time and went to different places. And lastly, it's all about mindset, guys. Even if you feel like you're getting too old, or you don't have enough saved, or man, this retirement thing just seems really far away. I can barely pay my bills now. I can't see past next Tuesday, let alone think about retirement. Your mindset is what will allow you to be able to move forward. I think it was Henry Ford that said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So with the right tools, the right vision, and the right systems and processes in place, you can absolutely retire with dignity. And even if you feel like it's too late, I've heard stories of 70-year-olds who have paid off over $100,000 of debt and were able to still leave a legacy to their loved ones. If you'd like some help from getting from where you are now in your finances to where it is you want to be, please take a screenshot or pull out your phones and take a picture of my information. I'd love to have a conversation with you and help you picture where it is you want to be and help you get there. Thank you so much, guys.
Tracy, thank you for such a wonderful and motivating talk. I was making notes to myself to call my financial planner because I got questions for him now.
Love it.
I just got one about 3 months ago. So, it's a good thing. And it feels good to have somebody that I know knows what they're doing. So thank you for that encouragement for those of us out there that haven't taken that step yet. We're going to have questions for Tracy.
Thank you. Tracy, oh, this is good. How much debt is too much debt? And what can you tell us about credit scores?
That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. So it depends on what is your definition of debt and what does it mean to you? I follow Dave Ramsey's principles, and biblically speaking, the borrower is slave to the lender. That being said, I don't want to be a slave to Visa or MasterCard or student loans or the IRS. So with that, I would say no debt is the best kind of debt. As far as credit scores go, that's a can of worms that we could talk about all day long. It also goes back to what are your beliefs about the credit score? In my coaching practice, I have a lot of people who believe that the credit score is a benchmark for how well they're doing financially. Actually, what a credit score is, it's an I love debt score, because what it does is it causes you to take out debt so you can repay it, so you can get a better credit score, so you can take out more debt, so you can pay it back, so you can get a better credit score, and so on and so forth. When a better benchmark would be your net worth. What are your assets? So how much equity do you have in your house, your car, your bank accounts, your 401k, minus how much you owe is your net worth. That would be a better benchmark to look at things. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
I'll jump in here, Tracy.
Hey, Christina, it's great to hear from you.
I follow Dave Ramsey as well, and there's a lot of people who argue about the credit score being necessary to do things. And the truth of the matter is that credit scores haven't been around forever, and there was a way that we did things before credit scores, and those ways are still possible. I recently heard on the Dave Ramsey show about a lady doing what they call manual underwriting to buy a house. Because she didn't have a credit score. And so look at you. Yeah, that's the goal. No credit score. So while I am not anywhere near that, I have a very good credit score, but as far as working on getting to no credit score, that's going to be a little while for me.
Thank you, Christina. And yes, that is another hurdle that a lot of people face is, how do I rent an apartment? How do I rent a car? How do I get a house without a credit score? And Christina, you're absolutely right. There are ways to do it. Manual underwriting to get a house, paying cash for cars and trading them in and saving up, and then trading it in and saving up to get to the car that you actually want would be a way to do it without going further into debt. Love that point, Christina. Thank you.
We also have a question about how much debt is too much debt.
And that goes back to, what are your beliefs about debt? A lot of people view debt as, oh no, like I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to give my paycheck away for stuff that I paid for in the past, because that's stealing from my future. And there's people who think that debt can be used as a tool for leverage. As far as too much debt, honestly, that's going to be based on the person. That's the real coach answer for me personally. having been in debt up to my eyeballs and like having to cash out our change jar to feed my family for a week because we had no savings, because we had so much debt, I never want to go back there ever again. So for me, debt, any debt is too much debt. Even the mortgage for me is like, I can't wait to get the house paid off, guys.
Missy wants to know, are you penalized if you pay your credit cards off monthly?
What do you mean by penalized?
Missy, why don't you come off of mute and ask her directly?
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button.
Oh, it's okay.
I was just wondering, so if you go through and like you put it on your credit card for points or for whatever, and then you pay it off every month, do you still get credit for that, or how does that affect your credit score? I hear all these tips and tricks like online about what dates to pay, when to do what, and I don't know if any of that has any value.
Sure. So I'm not licensed in credit counseling, so I'm not sure like when the best time to pay your credit card would be. I do know, psychologically speaking, even if you pay off your credit card at the end of every month and you don't carry a balance, psychologically, you're going to spend on average between 13 and 18% more per transaction when you use a credit card versus a debit card or cash. And that's because credit cards don't ignite the pain sensors in your brain that you do when you have to hand over $100 at Walmart to go grocery shopping or $50 to go get Taco Bell nowadays. So as far as being penalized, there's no penalty to pay off your credit cards every month. But even if you do, you're still spending more than you would be using a debit card or cash. And then you've also got to think about the fees that they charge you. Like I've got a coaching client who they don't carry a balance on their credit card, and they've got to pay $95 this month just for the honor of having a credit card with them to get points and miles for their airlines.
That's interesting. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Missy. Thank you for your question.
Tracy, thank you for such a wonderful talk. So next up, we've got Caleb Krieg. Again, Caleb is a Marine veteran, licensed broker with comprehensive benefits. So Caleb, you're up next.
Yes. So everything you just learned about was getting ready and being prepared to retire at some point. Well, now, hopefully, as you begin to age, as you're getting ready for that wonderful time of your life, you'll start to realize there's more to retiring than saving up money and being able to travel across the world, the globe, the state, the country, wherever you're at. Some of those things that you really want to focus on is your health care going forward, especially since it's a lot of times the second time somebody's retiring. They retired out of the military, whether they did their 4 years and they're an honorable veteran, they did their 6 years in the reserves and their 2 years in inactive reserves, or they decided to tough it out and carry on through the entire 20 years of retirement. So our organization, Comprehensive Benefits, just a little bit about us is that we are an insurance brokerage company. We have over 12,000 clients that we've worked with across 15 states. We've got 73 different brokers. And one of the big things I really like to focus on is making sure veterans are taken care of. A lot of times, my brother's been in for 17 years. He's actually a gunnery sergeant right now, getting ready to be either master sergeant or first sergeant. He put in his package for master sergeant. But one of those things is he's getting ready to retire here in the next few years. And all he knows is he has to sign up for his TRICARE. And then as soon as he gets ready to retire at 65, a second time, he needs that TRICARE for life and has almost no information about it. Our organization knows from my own personal family situation, along with a lot of the veterans that we've worked with, what it's like.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is all veterans 65 and older, regardless of the benefits that you're approved for, you're eligible for, whether you go to the VA, you have TRICARE for life, you're going to a private insurance agency or broker or company, all of them require Medicare. You're going to see your Medicare Part A, your Medicare Part B, your hospital insurance, your medical insurance. And what those are is they help you with your hospital, they help you with your doctor visits, but they do not give you any help with the deductibles or co-insurances, and there's no limit to how much those services can cost you based off how you use them. There's also no prescription drug coverage built into that original Medicare. So what happens when you turn 65, we really just want to focus on what can you do to help make sure you're not paying exorbitant costs for your health care for you and your family, by also making sure you're not paying an exorbitant cost for your medication. So there's a lot of options out there, and we're going to kind of go over some of those. First one, for veterans, whether you just served your 4 years or you served your 20 or 30 years, is VA coverage. That requires the member to use VA-approved providers and locations. That's through Veteran Affairs, their medical coverage, and it's very comprehensive medical services. They'll let you see everything from a primary care physician all the way through specialists for everything from as simple as diabetes, the heart, or brain, or traumas, or anything like that. The other big limitation on there is it is, again, only for the member that served, not for any other family members. And it may not be available everywhere. Well, what that really means is you may have to travel to your appointments anywhere between 15 minutes on the road all the way to maybe several hours to see a specialist or go to a specific facility that you're required to get treatment. The other thing is that the VA does not usually accept a non-VA prescription. If you go to a standard doctor and you realize how expensive it is, a lot of the times the VA will not honor that unless they do the testing and determine that you need that medication as well. The other option out there for a lot of veterans is TRICARE for Life. Usually with that, that's when you retire from the military. That's after 20 years of honorable service for you and your family members that are eligible may qualify for it. It helps pay that Medicare co-insurance and deductible. Again, you're still required to have your Medicare, but this is a great option for you to help pay those co-insurances, pay those deductibles, and receive prescription drug coverage. The next option is also gives you worldwide coverage as well. Being able to travel around the world, around the globe, this time for fun, not for excitement, to be able to make sure your family's taken care of. It also really has some limitations as well. It really only covers what original Medicare would cover, which means there's usually no dental, no vision or hearing. You're paying for that separately. Some of the experimental treatments that are out there may not be covered. And a lot of times you end up having to go out of your pocket for things that you wish you could have that you may not have access to through TRICARE for Life. The next option out there that you may hear of, you'll see a lot of commercials, or a lot of times if you may use the VA or the veteran uses the VA, their family member may be on what's called a Medigap plan, or also known as a Medicare supplement plan, to help take care of those charges with Medicare. A lot of times there's no referrals to other doctors or anything like that needed. And a lot of times, any doctor that takes original Medicare will take that Medicare supplement or a Medigap plan in order to make sure you're taken care of. So a lot of times the VA requires very stringent resources on who you can see, when you can see them, and how often. These Medigap plans on the civilian side generally don't have any of those restrictions tied to them. A lot of times you'll see what they call as Part D coverage. This gives the veteran the ability to get prescription drugs on the civilian side at a reduced rate without going through the VA or through going through the VA. A lot of times TRICARE for Life may be a better option, but if you don't have TRICARE for Life, that Part D coverage that can save you a significant amount of money. It gives you coverage that's usually broken down into what they call tiers and costs that really just associate of what's the medication and what you'll end up paying for it based off the insurance company that it's through, which again is through a private insurance provider. The last thing you see a ton of commercials for it are these Medicare Advantage plans. A lot of veterans that really don't understand how they work. A lot of times that they're comprehensive. Their Medicare Part A and Part B coverage goes through a private insurance company instead of being ran by the federal government. They usually include the additional benefits like that dental and vision and hearing. There's a lot of the commercials really make them sound like a great option for everyone. But again, a lot of times it doesn't take into the account what that veteran really earned, what they use, and how they use it when these are positioned to them. And a big factor in that is it's managed by a private insurance company. It's not managed by the federal government. It's not managed by the Department of Defense or the VA. It's a private insurance company maintains that Medicare Advantage plan. Those are just some of the options out there available for veterans, and that's why it can be so confusing. Without any proper guidance, without knowing what's going on or what's available to you, there's so many options out there, which goes into the next slide, the next page. That should be a broker versus an agent. Really, their names are very interchangeable. A lot of times you'll hear the word broker or you'll hear the word agent, and they get used back and forth significantly. So we're going to compare a little bit about the difference between the two. I'm not saying that one's better than the other or both are bad or only see a broker or only see an agent. They have two very significant roles and who they represent. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about the broker first. Brokers are independent. They work independently, not tied to a specific insurance company. They may be part of a brokerage firm that has contracts with multiple insurance companies, but even though they represent different companies, they're not specifically tied to any one of those. That means they're able to offer options, which is a wide range of insurance products from multiple insurance carriers, usually providing more choices. And the more choice an individual has in their lifestyle, the more personalized it is and the less stressful it can be for that individual. They act as an advocate for the client, aiming to find the best coverage at the best price. A lot of times, like we just talked about, there's so many different options for veterans, how they get their health care, how those different work together. If I have TRICARE for life and I go to the VA, how is that billed? If I have an Advantage plan, I go to the VA because my medications are expensive. What is the most affordable option for me? These are all questions that you'd want to ask your broker or your agent. They're very client-centered. Since they're not tied or they're not contracted to any specific insurance company, their main focus is on the client and making sure that that relationship is happy and that that client receives ongoing support. And then the last thing that really stands apart between a broker and an agent is their fiduciary duties, which they have a legal obligation to act in the client's best interest. So a lot of times what you'll see is, more importantly, a lot of brokers may refer that client to just use their TRICARE for life or just use the VA services out there. If that's really based off what that client is saying, that may be the best option for them. Agents, on the other hand, have their own specialty role as well. They are affiliated with a specific insurance group or their limited group of carriers. What that specifically means is that individual is tied to one insurance company, which means they know all the in and outs of that one company. They have limited options, but because of the limited options they sell and they work with, they know all the specifics about those and how those impact that individual and the best opportunities. Despite having fewer choices, they do know how to essentially work the system a little better for those individual choices they may have in some cases. A lot of times with the product knowledge, like I was referring to, they'll specialize only with that one specific company or those few specific companies that they work with under that umbrella. That results in the situation where a lot of times they can help point you in the right directions and everything like that. They have very standardized plans since they're working with an individual carrier, that they only specifically know those plans, they can only offer those plans, and they typically, since they're standardized across what they're working with, know all about them. And at the end of the day, they really just have the agency's interest in mind in most cases. They're prioritized putting the interest of the carrier or the insurance plan that they offer over, in some cases, what may be another option out there that would benefit the client. A lot of times that may be everything from, hey, making sure you change your doctors or where you go for your prescriptions or other things that may result in a little more of a pain point on the client's behalf in order to work with that specific agent. But really, how can an agent or how can a broker help a veteran transition into Medicare? Some of the big things is the expert guidance. Knowing that there's all these options out there, do you need a Medicare Advantage plan, TRICARE for life? Do those work together? Knowing if they work with the VA services, what does the VA bill, what won't they bill to a private insurance? Making sure that those complexities are involved. It does help having that expert guidance to be able to see what's a good option for you. The next is tailored solutions. how they work closely with veterans to assess their individual healthcare needs, considering factors like the VA benefits, TRICARE for Life, CHAMP VA, or other specific health conditions that may coincide. A lot of times, even if you want to use the VA system or the TRICARE for Life system, both of those are great and wonderful, but sometimes you may want a second opinion. And being able to know who do I go or how do I get insurance to cover a second opinion if the worst case scenario were to happen, to know that I'm taken care of or that I can reach out to somebody who would be able to take care of me. A lot of times, Medicare education. A lot of times, brokers do provide detailed explanations of the different parts of Medicare, ensuring that what the veteran has coincides and works appropriately with also what is available for that individual. Not only what they qualify for, but more importantly, what their family qualifies for. You didn't fight and sacrifice just to take care of yourself. You did it for your family as well. And then the last thing is also helping with VA coordination. They may assist veterans in navigating the coordination between Medicare and the VA health system for seamless care. A lot of times also with TRICARE for Life, where there may be options out there to help you get that dental, vision, and hearing. Make sure that you're taken care of. And if you don't want to drive all the way to your local VA healthcare system, that there may be options out there to meet those needs of yours as well. And then also the expertise involved with that. A lot of times the veterans can reach out to their brokers at any time with questions or concerns. Everything from simple, hey, I keep getting this bill from the VA saying I owe $15 or I owe $50 for this medical treatment. I tried to call, the number was so long. What options do I have out there? And a lot of times we'd be able to get you with the veterans in touch with local facilities, nonprofit organizations, or other groups that would help that individual with their medical expenses or their billing. So this is just here at the office, the individuals that work out of our office. We have 73 different brokers available across 15 different states. I just put the ones here in the office just because it would have been a smorgasbord of all the different pictures and names of everybody we do have. That's our contact information. If you do want to reach out to find out who a local broker or local agency in the area that you can work with, we'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction. And then also there's our website, or in an email you can answer questions too as well in the future.
Thank you so much, Caleb. I appreciate you hanging in there with us and that fabulous information. And Tracy, also for your presentation. Thank you so much. Allison, I'm going to hand this back over to you to introduce the breakout activity. I think it's going to be a little bit of an abbreviated one, but at least I think we still have time for some good quality conversation. So I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. So yeah, we have a few minutes. We can go into abbreviated breakout. So our breakouts were topic 1, attaining your dream retirement. That's with Tracy. And topic 2, the Medicaid discussion. Just more discussion and talk on Medicaid. I think we were also thinking that, like, how have you, what discussions have you had with your veterans that you're working with, and what questions they might have. Might be good to Caleb to hear that as well. So I will go ahead and open up the rooms. We'll be back in a few minutes. I haven't even checked my time. So yes, 2:50. We can be about a 15-minute breakout. So I will open them up now. So welcome back, everybody. I could see there was a lot of discussion going on. So how about it, Tracy? Is there somebody that could share a couple of things that were said? Not the whole thing, but just a couple of key points.
I had Stacy, who was on fire bringing the questions, so I'm going to call on her.
All right, Stacy.
Oh gosh. We really we're talking about the both personal and the folks that we work with, just trying to think about the emotion and the potential trauma work. So most of my users are dealing with PTSD or traumatic brain injury, and so that causes can change the way executive function and long range planning works. So thinking about they may not have thought about a 5-year plan, a retirement plan, an end of life plan, like that's not in their capacity because of the injuries they have sustained. So just trying to take a moment and be patient and using those I think, emotionally loaded questions of legacy and making it about who they are and who they want to be. And then it takes away the fear of numbers, or it takes away it's not homework. It's, oh, well, this is who I am and this is who I want to be remembered. How do I get there? I think
like
it
it.
makes an easier lift.
Yay. Yeah. I hadn't even considered that. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Was there anything else that in your group, Tracy, that, and whoever, y'all, please turn your pictures on so we can see your faces, if you don't mind. If you have the ability to turn your video, that would be great. Is there anything else, Tracy, that you want to add to that came up? Thank you. Thank you, Stacy.
So we discussed also, we continued, not only was it the emotional piece of the retirement, but we also discussed like how if somebody they're in their freeze, like, so when we're in a trauma response, there's a fight, flight, freeze, and please. If you're in freeze and it's easy to avoid and have procrastination, like, I know I need to be doing this, I should be doing this, there's a lot of guilt and shame about doing this, but there's just something holding them back. It's so much less scary if you have somebody who's non-judgmental to just kind of take them by the hand and help walk them through figuring out, hey, this is where you are. And this is how you can take those baby steps forward to start changing your situation.
Excellent. Good thought and good advice. I really enjoyed your presentation, so I'm looking forward to going back and listening more to it again. Some really good key nuggets, I think, that were really helpful. One with the how do you get people sometimes talked into getting benefits? A lot of we've heard from over and over again how veterans don't want to apply for benefits because they're like, oh, somebody else might need them worse than I need them. But you made some kind of you talked about like if they have those benefits, they can use them for their legacy, right? And so that was like, another way to kind of present it to a veteran to, hey, you need to go get your benefits that you've earned. So thank you for that. How about Caleb? Can you give us a couple of key takeaways from your breakout?
Yeah, I mean, I have some really great questions. Bill had some really good ones about being working with individuals that are younger, works at a college. What kind of questions would you have for them, and just those coverages involved? Making sure that if you're a veteran, regardless of age, making sure that you were enrolled into the programs that you were eligible for. You didn't sacrifice your time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears to not take advantage of what you deserve. So making sure that you're enrolled, everything from the VA system or as you age into TRICARE for life and TRICARE, making sure you're taking advantage of what you deserve is a key benefit to what you did for our country, and you deserve it. So that was one of the big takeaways there.
Excellent. Thank you. And that's true. Kind of segues from what we were just talking about just a minute ago. So perfect. Thank you. Thank you both. Jeanette, I'm going to pass it back to you for you to wrap us up.
All right, thank you so much. I'd like to start certainly by thanking Tracy and Caleb for your informative presentations. I'm sure that we'll be talking about some of the points and tips that you brought up for a while now, especially as all of us hope to reach retirement and want to do that as financially sound as we can. So thank you for that. The second thing I want to bring to all of your attention is an opportunity that we have coming up. It is the 2023 Military Family Advisory Network Survey. It starts today. And there is the link to go to the survey. This survey is for military connected families, and it gives them the opportunity to amplify their lived experiences, strengthen programs and support well-being. So please spread the word to your service members, veterans, and family members over the age of 18 and let them know that they can participate. It's a very important survey. And again, it helps gain information that can be used towards programming and improving existing programs. In closing, I'd like to thank you all for collaborating and sharing today. Here at America's Warrior Partnership, we partner with communities to improve veterans' quality of life and thereby reduce veterans' death by suicide or self-harm. We believe that communities are best equipped to improve the quality of life for veterans. And our goal here at AWP, and our goal for today and every day, is to provide our community partners like yourselves with support, information, and best practices to help you deliver the quality services that to the veterans in your communities. Our next Battle Rhythm will be on November 6th. The topic will be women veterans' view of the transition process. We're excited to have Lourdes Tigolo, I hope I didn't pronounce that name wrong, and she is from the Center for Women's Veterans, very influential person in the veteran space, and going to share with us some things that she has learned from working with women veterans in transition. The Center for Women's Veterans is a program of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, so that's also a nice thing for us to know. We hope that you all can attend. I thank you for being here and hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Another great program.
Yep.